Greetings, everyone. This is brought to you by the Group 2 Spice Girls. Today, we will be talking about a document entitled Commission on Independence Filipino Grievances Against Governor Wood. The author of the said document is none other than Gregorio F. Zaide, who was born on May 25, 1907 and died on October 31, 1988. Gregorio was a Filipino historian, an author, and a politician who was born from Pagsanjan, Laguna. Gregorio was one of the founders of the International Association of Historians Asia, or IAHA, and president of the Philippines Historical Association for 3 terms. He also studied and graduated at the University of the Philippines Manila and the University of Santo Tomas, and also he served as a mayor of his hometown from 1971 to 1975. Gregorio was the most prolific Filipino historian of his time, having researched, taught, and written over 80 different books on Philippine history over the course of a career spanning 5 decades or 50 years. The author is dependable not only for his unbiased, factually based output, but also for the fact that he was present during these happenings of which he had documented here and knew of these things firsthand, making him a credible primary source. The document itself had been approved by the Commission on Independence on November 17, 1926, further adding credibility to the output. This event happened when Wood was appointed from October 14, 1921 to August 7, 1927. The document, which was a form of protest where Zaide writes for the constitutional representatives of the Filipino people, and it also serves as an impeachment request for Governor Wood. The author's motivation could stem from the fact that he was directly affected by the laws broken and redone by the Governor General in his own favor rather than that of the Filipinos who had then still been in pursuit of their own independence against America. The writing of the document takes place just over 25 years after the Philippine independence by the hands of the Americans when the Philippines was under the sovereignty of the United States. As I said earlier, the document is an impeachment request for Governor Wood, who was seen as unfit to preside over Philippine matters. In this document, the Filipinos were seen as hardworking people aspiring for the independence promised by America should they fulfill the requirements given to them by the Congress of the United States. For the first 20 years of independence given to them by the US, the civil government was a hubbub of mutual understanding and loyal cooperation between Americans and Filipinos. It is only after the administration of Governor General Leonard Wood that this mutual understanding was disrupted by the curtailment of the Filipinos' anatomy, the destruction of their then current constitutional system, and the reversal of America's Philippine policy. The inauguration of the United States presidency to one Warren G. Harding brought about the appointment of a special mission to investigate the conditions in the Philippines to see if the country was ready to attain its proper independence. Popularly called the Woods-Forbes Mission, was composed of Major General Wood, former military governor of Mindanao and Sulu, and W. Cameron Forbes, former Governor General of the Philippines. They were the ones sent for the mission. On October 8, 1921, only 4 months into the investigation, they submitted a report to the President, whose conclusions and recommendations were averse to the Philippines' aspirations towards independence. It was because of this happening that the Philippine independence was pushed back and the American authority was further instated with the inauguration of Leonard Wood as the 6th American Governor General of the Philippines. In this document, the Filipinos were portrayed as to be patient, diligent, hardworking, loyal, and aspiring, according to Zaida himself, which is a Filipino as well. This could be because of the fact that they were working towards their promised independence, though more cynically, this could be because Zaida himself was a Filipino, and seeing as he was submitting a letter, which is supposed to be an impeachment request, for the Governor General for various perceived misdeeds, it could also be a generalization of Filipinos' better traits to better the chances of US compliance or justice against Governor Leonard Wood. In the title itself, Filipino Grievances refers to the perceived slights of the Governor General Wood against the Filipino people during his instatement as Governor General of the Philippines. This document was approved by the Commission on Independence on November 17, 1926, and acts as a request for the impeachment of Governor Wood due to his supposed atrocities against the Filipinos and the Philippine government. They strive for autonomy, their own constitutional system, and the promise of the Americas to the Philippines for their eventual independence. See direct quotation from the DSOPH, page 230, document 608, page 1. I quote, "Resulting in the curtailment of our autonomy, the destruction of our constitutional system, and the reversal of the America's Philippine policy." The document itself was a final straw for the Filipinos following the issuance of Executive Order No. 37, by which Wood had attempted to nullify laws created by the Board of Control in a play for the functions of that body, the gravity of which is only further pronounced by the usurpations done by him previously. A previous misconception in Philippine history that was debunked was that the Philippine independence was withheld selfishly by the American government for political gain against the weaker in autonomous Philippine government. According to Zaide, the American sovereignty of the Philippines was one of freedom and not subjugation, the American flag being to Filipinos a symbol of altruism, not selfishness or greed. The sincerity of the American government towards their promises of Philippine independence were both believed and worked towards, with Filipinos believing the attentions and aid of the American government were for our goodwill and not anything working towards their own gain. So my question is, how is this relevant to the Philippines' history? Well, this is relevant because it details some of what happened during the occupancy of Governor General Wood and addresses the misconceptions of the Filipino people against the Americas by pointing out the fact that most of what had happened to curtail their steady growth towards independence happened at the behest of Governor General, with his own goals and the interests of himself, his American colleagues, and the America itself in mind. So my question now is this document significant? Well, yes, it is significant to the scholars, historians, and analysts who may have had questions towards the American government regarding the delay of the Philippines' total independence, and it is also socio-culturally significant as it explains some of the Philippines' remaining loyalties to the Americans and their continued influence on Filipinos today. It is also politically significant as it details the various atrocities done to the Philippine government under the charge of Governor General Wood during his near 7 years spent overseeing the Philippines. And lastly, it is also significant to the Filipino youth, serving as a warning against blindly trusting those which have been sent to help you, as each political party, official, or government employee may act in the best interest of those who they have the most ties with, disregarding whatever goodwill you may think they have towards you, should tides curry in their favor. Not that it would happen continuously and explicitly, but history has a tendency of repeating itself, and this document better serves as a ward from the potential repetitions than merely a look-see into how things were before the Great Depression. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed your stay.